Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this, your Leo April 2024 reading and forecast. Hi, I'm Nigel St. James, clairvoyant. Well, this month I have an interesting deck for you. It's called the Heindel deck. It must be well over 30 years, I guess, old now. I imagine it would be. These are the backs of the cards for those people who are interested in them. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to provide you with a unique perspective on the energies and influences surrounding you. And this will help you to navigate the month with insight and awareness. Now, usually I use a lot of astrology and numerology in my readings, as you probably know, and this deck has, on some of the cards, Chinese I Ching, some have Viking runes, and some have biblical Hebrew letters, all of which themselves, each of them, have a particular lens effect for me on energy that's out there and which I will share with you if they happen to come up. Now, of course, this isn't a predictor of a fixed future for you, but these lenses will work to reflect the energies at play, providing you with guidance and a deeper understanding on the path that you are on this month. Now, I've done a number of one-on-one clairvoyant readings for people from different countries around the world over the course of the last month over FaceTime and Skype. And if you might be interested in seeing what's involved in having a one-on-one clairvoyant reading with me, then just check out the information that's in the description box below. Now, separately, I've also done a number of healings over FaceTime and Skype for people in different countries as well. Now, the spiritual gifts of clairvoyance and of healing were provided to me at birth. Now, the gift of healing is provided on the basis that, number one, I must use it for people who ask, and number two, I am to receive nothing in return for it. Now, readings I charge for, I have to, but healings are free. There's no obligation. There's no catch. You will not be recommended to have a reading from me. You won't be recommended or sold anything by me or by anybody else. It is literally the free lunch. So if you have some emotional distress, it might be a heartbreak or heartache, could be some grief, or some other emotional issue or physical issue, then please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I mean, I've been providing healing, well, the healing comes through me and not from me, as you would appreciate, and it has been going on through me for over 40 years, and literally there's nothing that I haven't seen or heard, and I forget everything anyway at the end of the session, because otherwise I go crazy with the amount of people that I see, so it's all confidential. Now let's get the 5 cards for you, shall we, and see what's in store for you this month, and get the reading underway. What's the first one? 5 of stones. Strength. See, there's a rune and there's a Hebrew letter, which I'll get to. Here's another rune and Hebrew letter with the tower. This is the Ace of Wands in the east. And finally, we have the 7 of Cups, which has a Chinese I Ching as well. So I'll bring the camera around. Why don't you come and sit down here next to me? You and I can have a good close look at the imagery on these cards together while I do the reading, especially for you. What a fascinating spread of cards it looks like for you. Now, there's a point here where you have a bit of a worry about something, but you definitely overcome it. You work out that there's no point in trying to get other people to... people have got to lead their own lives. There's some internal changes going on, but bright future. Great things, great month coming around. Let's talk about each of these. Let's unpack that and see what there is here. And of course, let's look first at the image that's on the card. Well, they look like trees that are dead or dying, and they are behind a pool of stagnant water. There are 5 stones that are floating around in the air, not looking as if they're particularly going in any direction at all. But what I like under here is the red tinge, which could either refer to a wound, or I think What it does is it's showing that your life force, ambition and strength is now coming to the fore. Now this card has a hexagram on it, hex of course meaning 6. Now the broken lines are yin or receptive principle. The unbroken lines are yang or active principle. Now they can either be read one line at a time or in couplets or in triplets or, as I do, with the 6 of them together. And when I read this and when I look into it, look through it to see what's on the other side of it, what I get is the feeling of splitting apart. Now I think that things are not the way they seem at the moment. Reality appears to be a hall of mirrors. Intrigues seem to be multiplying like summer flies. There are rumors of discontent around. I think it's a time of illusion for you, maybe of distrust. There could be some deception about. You might be uncovering a secret. Well, when you find yourself trapped in a hall of mirrors, it becomes necessary to retrace your steps, doesn't it? To go back to the familiar and to get peace in what is firm and secure. Now, there is no blame in holding back. Indeed, it is your responsibility to keep your strength intact, because the period of revival that follows what might be a bit of a downtime for you, this period is going to come as surely as dawn follows the night. Now, you would have heard the expression that discretion is the better part of valor. Well, good timing is critical now. Learn to choose the proper moments for action, and that way you won't run into any dead ends. And pay close attention to changes that signal that it might be a good idea to make a tactical retreat. There's no shame in making a retreat to regroup and gather your forces again. Now, in the realm of personal relationships, discovering illusion, well, that can be painful and confusing. And during such a period, it is wise to avoid undertaking dramatic new moves. It's especially important not to jump to conclusions when you sense that nothing is quite as it seems. Wait until you get the facts. Now, the astrology is that of Mercury ruling the first decan of Taurus, the 20th or 30th of April. Look, the speed and fluidity of Mercury is weighed down by the slow, heavy, fixed sign of Earth in Taurus. And fives are associated with some degree of instability, so don't think that this is something unusual that's happening. This is a normal part of life. If you do feel that something has fallen out of balance, is what I'm getting here. There's some feeling with you that things are out of balance, or in particular that you're worrying about things. Worrying that some situation is in a rut or is loaded with tension, so much so that you think that sorting it out by talking looks to be impossible. So things look gloomy. You might think that relationships are threatening to break apart. You might think that you are condemned to stand there looking while everything around you falls apart. Well, this is just not the case. This is in your mind. You're worrying about something that isn't real. What it does say to me is that your own energy is blocked, and your thoughts keep revolving around finding a solution to something, trying to find a breakthrough, thoughts going round and round and round. And this situation touches the depths of your subconscious. It goes right through you. Well, because this card has turned up and turned up first, it is saying that your inner wisdom is now telling you to do something. See, the problem in situations where you are working yourself into a shock, I suppose, is that you don't do anything while at the same time tormenting yourself with entangled thoughts. I've got a feeling that there's something going on here that's been happening for some time and you haven't dealt with it. You might be thinking, am I getting myself into a situation I might not be able to get out of? Will events overwhelm me? Well, worries about past and future, and neither can be affected by anything that we worry about, let alone do anything about. But there's a state of consciousness here that always takes you back into the past or forward into the future, but not in the present. You should be living here in the present now. But as I say, you've drawn this card, so you're ready to look at your situation as it is. You now have an opportunity to free yourself by taking or having the necessary discussion, that's the Mercury aspect, you see, a discussion, communication, either with partners or with yourself, of course, because only clear and open communication are going to make progress possible. Now, in what areas or situations are you not clear and decisive enough? With which people do you need to sort things out with? Say this to yourself. I am straightening out my life. I am ready to look at my life as it is and trust in the process of resolving my fears and worries. Well, what's up on that top row there? Well, you should enjoy this, because this is Leo. Now, what have we got going on in the... Oh, you've also got a Viking rune and a Hebrew letter there. Let's have a look at it. Let's see what this picture is doing first up, shall we? And see what I can get from it. Well, the person of strength is open and without shame. And here, her strength comes from her unity with Earth and her own divine energy. She is like a shaman performing a ritual under the moon in the woods by a pool of water. Now, the pool is the unconscious, the hidden mysteries. By holding up the snake, this shaman connects the above to the below, the sky and the earth. Now, the snake is green, the color of new life, and its underside is red, which is the color of energy. Now, I want to deal first with this rune here, Sewello. Now, the runes, of course, they came about because in Norse, Scandinavian, Viking legend, the king of the gods, Odin, was a great seeker of wisdom, so much so that he sought wisdom over particular matters, but he had to poke out one of his own eyes to do that, which he did. And then he also sought wisdom by, for 9 days and 9 nights, hanging upside down from the world tree above the Well of Erd. Now, in the Well of Erd lived 3 Norns, 3 unmarried women who were kind of like the fates in Greek mythology. They determined what did and didn't happen in people's lives. And he hung there, and the runes were within the well. And Odin hung there upside down, without eating, without drinking, until eventually the runes floated to the surface and imparted their wisdom and magic to him. Now, this one here in the Elder Futhark is Sewello. Now, Sewello means the sun, which of course is good because here's Leo and your planet is that of the sun. It also means spiritual power and enlightenment, but it means success and personal growth for you as well. So Sewello is, if you like, the sun, an illuminating force that breaks through the darkness and doubt, creating growth and expansion. It is both the goal and the active, willed action towards it. Your purpose and your inner self. Really auspicious for you. Now this Hebrew letter that's there, let's just have a quick look at it again. Just notice the shape of it. Okay, look at the shape. Well, let me look at it. That's the ninth letter of it's Teth, by the way. It's the ninth letter of the Hebrew alphabet. Now the literal meaning is that of basket or nest, well, unsurprisingly, I suppose, and it is the symbol of good in all of creation, and it has to do with purity and impurity, teaching you to choose the good, and also the realization that even within the bad things that happen, there is hidden good. Now, Teth also represents femininity and pregnancy. It includes the kindness and mercy of creation and the principle that everything is eternal and nothing is ever lost. Now, Teth's essence is feminine, and she has a mystical association with the number 9 being 9 months of pregnancy. Now, this letter is sort of shaped like a womb, isn't it? A spiral or a container where things change and transform. It is the field of manifestation, the essence of the feminine that contains all in her. The infinite is contained in Teth, and it brings about the finite. Now, what it says for me unmistakably is that this is a time of great passion for you. Look, a wide-ranging creativity, great talent, internal strength, and the integration of your animal energies, and overcoming old fears, conditionings, and of worries. Now, this is really speaking of lust here. It's almost like a divine intoxication, divine ecstasy, divine madness. Well, this woman herself, this shaman, she may well be intoxicated. And I think here that what we have is the view that eventually you are going to come to a level of consciousness so profoundly high that the only level that's higher is a universal consciousness itself. This is a time of you being extremely talented, and I think that you will challenge the conventional views on what a spiritual path should be like. Now, this is also saying that you definitely are not going to be punished by God, because God has no moral issues about your love life. So any guilt or self-inflicted punishments in this area are wrong. And this also relates to you having a passion, not only for perhaps a particular person, but for a situation, and you'll be engaging in life to the fullest. And also, thankfully, you will be comfortable with your sexuality. And you should accept your sexual desires for what they are, rejoice in them, but of course don't let them throw your life out of balance. And this could also herald, I think, a passionate relationship with a great degree of sexual and emotional intensity. I think it's also a time when you might be doing something just because you enjoy doing it, and not overanalyzing why you like doing it. So if you're ready to accept all that you find in yourself, you're going to be able to move through everything with deep sensitivity, awareness, love, and understanding. Now, what areas of your life would you like to live out more fully? What has prevented you from doing so in the past? Are you ready to deal with this anew? Take everything in with more awareness. You know, we often experience emotions such as love, sadness, pain, rage, or fear as obstacles only because we have never learned how to use them as firewood to stoke up the fire. I think that you should be saying to yourself now, I enjoy expressing my energy, vitality, and enthusiasm in all that I experience. I am a person of character and strength. I have unlimited creative resources to tap into and express, and I enjoy living life to the utmost. Now below it, and I don't want to spend as much time on this as I want to spend on that, but this is the Seven of Cups. Now, the painting looks quite straightforward here, does it not? There is the These 3 cups set upright and one dripping over the other way, and a sort of a darkish sort of figure in the background. Now what's important about, first of all, this is Venus in Scorpio. Now the number 7, I have an association with Venus as well. So there's a double Venus coming into Scorpio, and so Venus comes into Scorpio just at 100 miles an hour. And when you get Venus at this strength in Scorpio, clear-sightedness is the last thing that comes about. You can get lost in what you want rather than what is the fact, and you can sometimes waste your time in doing things. Let's have a look at this hexagram here, and that is youthful folly. Well, if you can speak of sometimes doing things wrong, youthful folly, well, you know, I would always be on guard for the careless or rebellious attitudes which are found with people of inexperience, particularly young people. Because just as youth requires instruction, this is a good time to focus on learning lessons from your own experiences to date. Is there a circumstance in your life that you have failed to understand? Perhaps because you didn't appreciate its inbuilt complexity or lesson for you. And be respectful of anything or anyone who has something to teach you now. If you are focusing on a relationship, ask yourself which of you is currently the student and which of you is the mentor. If you are a parent, ask yourself, who is actually being the teacher, my child or me? Now, in order to be ready for challenging times, always make sure that you keep learning things. Let education be an ongoing part of your life, even if it's not done formally. Keep informing keep informing yourself. Develop the mindset and the willpower to carry you through confusing times. You see, the wise realize that experience, especially difficult experience, is really the most powerful of teacher. But of course, we can't be forced to learn, even from experience. So examine your attitude for things that would limit your openness, and look at yourself to see how you deal with the mistakes of others. Let people live their own lives and learn their own lessons. This is true also of children. Now, you can offer them your wisdom and advice, but only do that if they are receptive to it. Give up trying to convince others that you are right, as it's both exhausting and counterproductive. Instead, allow others to proceed into even difficult or dangerous circumstances, because that may well be the only way that they can learn. And if you don't learn stuff, you can't ever become successful. Care without forcing attention. Trying to take care of someone who is unwilling can actually be harmful. And live and let learn. Now we're going to build through these really quickly because we don't have a lot of time left and I'm worried about your time. Let's have a look at this. First of all, here is the Tower. Well, look, this is basically a rage against modern technology, I think, but there's hope with this blue sky and the sun, right? And here is planet Mars coming in. Here's a Hebrew letter. That Hebrew letter is Pei. It means mouth, and it refers to the power of speech. Speech is actually a spiritual power, I think, which can cause good or evil depending on how it is used. Now, in a certain way, what you think is what you are, and what you speak has the power to become. Violent words lead to violent actions. The quality of speech is considered to be the quality of life's essence and creative existence. Well, this teaches you that your words are as precious as gold and not to be spilled haphazardly. Now, the power of pay is a double-edged sword because it says, I'm sure, in what is the book of Proverbs in the old Hebrew Bible in chapter 18, verse 21, that life and death are in the hands of the tongue. Now, because of this letter pay represents the requirement to govern your own nature. Now, routine speech, all the distortions of speech, must give way to viewing speech as a miracle, as gold too precious to be spilled. Then speech could be used for its true purpose, to speak your destiny and to activate spirit through the thoughts and the speech. Now, this rune here that we see there, that's called, what is that? That's algiz. Now, in summary, it refers to one of those animals, elk, running around there, up there in Scandinavia. It also refers to luck and protection, a connection to your higher self, and a sanctuary. This algiz for you is an energy that is a protective and guardian force, but also a warning of something against which you should be guarded. It can be a call to seek sanctuary and raise your higher consciousness to be aware of any threats that may be on the horizon, but call this into action because it will be an omen of luck. Allow it to heighten your awareness and keep yourself safe from harm. Now, this energy, algiz, brings luck to those that need guidance around life's pitfalls. I know a witch that wears algiz rune jewelry as a protective spirit that helps sway her towards the true path and strengthens her power and luck and her life force. Now, as we can see from this sigil that's down here, this thing, the Mars is definitely the energy that's coming in here. It's Mars in full attack mode. It's talking about a far-reaching inner transformation with you and healing. This is the best healing energy that there is in the tarot. This represents a period of great healing for you. And the old has been destroyed to make room for the new. Spiritual renewal, self-knowledge, there's a release, breaking down of old forms or patterns, and it's a calm after the storm. Now, the power of the consuming, purifying fire destroys the old and sweeps it away. Nothing is spared. The tower of the ego will be shaken to its very foundations. I think that you are in the midst of, or about to enter into, an extremely intensive transformatory process, and whatever is destroyed or shaken within you is going to serve to purify you and make room for something new. So allow it. Are you ready to view yourself and life with new eyes? Observe yourself in daily life. Situations may seem to repeat themselves, but you will not continue to repeat old, limited, restrictive behavior patterns. And say this to yourself: who I think I am is a belief to be undone. I have the ability to heal and restore myself at all times. I am not inside my body. My body is inside of me, and everything that happens in my life, as it always does, happens for the best. And then finally, let's have a look at this card here. It's finally, isn't it? Yep. Which is the Ace of Wands. Now, this says to me that I think that, well, clearly Leo is going to be all over this, and Virgo and Cancer could be important to you as well. There's a strong energy here. Now, here we have this phallic stone coming up, and it's resting within this receptive stone or shell. This represents the female and male aspects of the divinity itself. This is saying that there's transformation going on here for you as well. And if obstacles are out of the way, renewal in all areas and levels of your life can take place. There's a revitalizing power now, filling your entire being with new light. And it's important for the free-flowing energies to have a creative outlet. Now, you can use the energy only if you have a goal towards which you can direct it. The next step after releasing the blocks is to find the right framework in which to set this energy to work. It's a new start here. You are full of power and energy, so engage fully in discovering where and how you can and want to use it, and what attracts you the most to doing it, and why. What gives you the most pleasure? In what framework could you realize your dreams? You could have a breakthrough moment of insight and feel inspired and motivated to move your life forward, and I think a big opportunity is going to be opening up for you now. Yeah, you can really tap into that potential within you and draw upon imagination and make your dreams come true. Say this to yourself: I express my energy and power openly and with love. Well, what a fantastic spread of cards for you. And you did a good job, of course. I told you it was an interesting deck, didn't I? And I hope you enjoyed that reading as much as I did providing it to you. Now, unless I see you privately for a reading or for a healing, then of course I'll see you again next month. And until then, though, remember one thing, and it is this: that you are a legend. And I look forward to seeing you again next month. Until then, it's bye for now.